Hey witches, how you doing today? Welcome back to another video. We're talking about traditional witchcraft and what does that mean? In the context of witchcraft, what does traditional mean? For those of you who are new around here, my name is Taya. Welcome to the channel with my co-host Luna in the background. We talk about all things witchcraft, and for those of you who are returning viewers, maybe coming in from another video, welcome back. I appreciate the support. All of you, please consider subscribing. It's a great way to help us build the channel. So, when I first saw the word traditional in the context of traditional witchcraft, I was excited. I had visions of practicing the old ways, of traditions handed down through the millennia that would connect me with the witches of old. Some works had me believing in an art of witchcraft that was passed through generations from the early modern era. I mean, that's what traditional means, right? Well, maybe not. Upon further research from reputable sources, the concept of traditional witchcraft traced back to the 1960s with a man named Robert Cochrane and his clan of Tubal Cain. So, if it began in 1960, was invented, so to speak, in the 60s, what's traditional about it? It turns out traditional witchcraft is a reconstruction of sorts of witchcraft practices based upon the folklore captured in the witch trials of the early modern era of the 16 and 1700s. Now, I hear you. The witchcraft trials are hardly a reputable source, because we all know they weren't actually witches. They were poor neighbors who glanced the wrong way at the guy next door the day before his cow took sick and he called witchcraft. At most, they were maybe midwives or cunning folk, but they weren't witches. But here's what their confessions almost universally recorded. Pacting with the devil, spellcraft to damage crops and livestock, witches' feasts that were flown to on brooms and staffs, transforming into animals to spy upon their enemies, and working with familiar spirits and feeding them. So, did these people do these things? No. So how did they know about it? Folklore. Now, let's put it in a modern context. Have you ever met Santa Claus? No. So, how do you know about his elves and his reindeer and his annual trek around the world delivering presents? Folklore. Does he exist? No. Well, listen, the witches of old, there's about as much evidence of them actually existing as Santa Claus does in modern times. The folklore of their existence has been captured by the witchcraft trial records. So, we use these records to build a practice that started in the 1960s. Does that make sense? So that's why we call it traditional. Traditional as in created out of oral and written traditions, such as folklore, mythology, stories, crafts, and customs. And that's why we call it traditional witchcraft. Thanks guys, just a quick one today.